So lastly, we have the radius. Um, in terms of landmarks of the radius, you have the head of the radius. It's going to be the flat end at the top, which articulates with the capitulum of the humerus and the radial notch of the ulna. You have the neck of the radius, narrow section just below the head, so right around there. Your radial tuberosity, your bony bump at the back of the neck where the biceps brachii will attach. The shaft is the long central point of the bone all around here. Styloid process will be at the end of the thumb side of the wrist, and then your radial side of the wrist, and the ulnar notch will be at the medial side of the wrist. So here. In terms of innervations, we have more simple innervations here. You have your muscle attachments, which would be the biceps brachii attached to the radial tuberosity, innervated by musculocutaneous nerves from the spinal nerves of C5, C6, and C7. You have your supinator, which will be innervated by the radial nerve, and then your pronator teres and your pronator quadratus, which will be both innervated by the median nerve. The blood supply of the radius will come from certain arteries, such as the radial recurrent artery, which arises from the radial artery. The distal radius will be getting its blood from the anterior interosseous artery, from the ulnar artery, and that branches from the radial artery supply. That branches from the radial artery to supply the distal radius, making sure that both of those aspects receive enough blood to it. Surrounding structures of the radius would include the ulna, which would run medially next to it, but they run parallel to each other, and it connects the interosseous membrane, allowing for shared stability between the two. The ulna is supplied via the ulnar artery, while the radius has the radial artery, with both of them being innervated by ulnar and median nerves. The muscles near it will be the biceps brachii at the proximal end, which attaches the radial tuberosity, and which is supplied by the brachial artery. The supinator will be more also towards the proximal side of the radius, which is this top side, and will attach along the radius, and is innervated by the radial nerve supplied by the branches of the radial recurrent artery. The pronator teres and pronator quadratus are both innervated by median nerve and supplied by the anterior interosseous artery. And then once you get into the arteries themselves, the radial artery runs along the radius, and that will supply the forearm and the hand, and then the ulnar artery will run by the pinky side, the other side, and supply structures, which contributes to blood flow of the distal radius through the anterior interosseous branch. The primary ossification begins at the shaft during diaphysis. So during fetal development, through the process of endochondral ossification, where cartilage gradually turns into bone. The secondary ossification centers appear after birth and the epiphyses of the ends of the bones, and the bone will contribute to lengthen as the child grows.